Welcome to Building Better Relationships with Chuck and Barb Lewis, equipping listeners and viewers with the biblical tools to conquer the difficulties faced in this life. Chuck has practiced crisis intervention since the 1980s and has been in ministry together with his wife Barb for over 20 years. They've taken the countless lessons and the knowledge they've acquired and have put them into this life skills class to share with you. We hope this blesses you.
Well, hello again. I'm Pastor Chuck Lewis, and this is my wife.
I'm Barbara.
And we're excited to be with you for another Building Better Relationships. And our topic today is...
We're going to talk about reducing conflict with your adult children.
Yeah, and that's something that, boy, I sure had to learn a lot about conflict growing up because I seen a lot of conflict, but I didn't see a lot of resolution to the conflict. Mm-hmm. So I had to learn how to resolve conflict. Boy, isn't it amazing how we know how to create it? It's just knowing how to reduce it.
Right. We didn't experience our parents or other people really listening to us and valuing what we had to say. So I think that's so important to look your kids in the eye when they're talking to you. Really be present with them. Mm-hmm. Don't be on your phone or watching TV or not valuing the game or whatever is on TV more than you value them. I think listening is a great way to communicate our love for someone.
It really is, and the whole purpose of having this program is to teach ourselves and teach you how to build better relationships. And one of the best way we can build a better relationship with anybody is putting high value on that person. Mm-hmm. And you don't have to feel it to do it. It can just be a choice that you make by the act of your will. Because I've had people say, well, when my children start earning value, then I'm going to treat them with value. Well, value can be a choice.
Yes.
God says that we're all valuable in spite of our mistakes and our failures, and we can feel like a big mistake with buttons and zippers. But at the same time, it's just a matter of learning how to value each other in spite of our circumstances.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So a big way that we can reduce conflict with our kids, first of all, is by treating them with honor and respect.
Yes.
That we care about what they have to say, even if we don't agree with it. And nowadays the political climate is very charged with anger. Maybe part of your family is Republican, the other part is Democrat, or you just don't agree on certain issues. And instead of letting that divide you, I think it's just making a decision to hear mm-hmm. their views on that, whether you agree with them or not.
Right.
To hear what they have to say and let them know that you love them, you value them, so you value what they have to say.
I had to learn that different was not deficient because I was raised to believe that different was deficient.
Right.
And I felt deficient most of my life because I was
too.
born with cerebral palsy, so I had a body that was not functioning properly, and I felt incredibly deficient. And maybe you're watching today, and you're an adult child of parents right now that's never valued you, and because of your physical condition or whatever. Well, I want you to know that God does not judge you based on your physical body. He looks at your heart. And, I had a body that I just felt like I was worthless. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't dress myself, couldn't feed myself. I just thought, what good am I to anybody? But God began to show me how valuable I was to Him. And I began to look to God to provide the value that I had, and then I could receive from other people their value, and probably even today receive from you
Right.
the value that you give to me.
Mm-hmm.
Because otherwise, when you paid me a compliment, I'd probably put it down or reject it or
Right.
say, why do you tell me this kind of stuff? I know you don't really feel that way. Because see, I couldn't receive for me.
Yes.
And I couldn't receive from other people. And even God. There was a time I couldn't even receive from God. So high value is believing by faith that God really does value you. He thinks that you're worth it. He really does. He calls you valuable. And he said that we are wonderfully made by him, and God doesn't make mistakes. He doesn't make junk.
That's right.
Yeah, no, he makes wonderful things. So if you're watching and you're really struggling with that, let that be an encouragement to you that if you don't feel like anybody values you, God does. And say that to yourself when you don't feel that anybody's valuing you. Say, God does.
That's right.
'Cause that's the truth.
That's right. Very good.
Yeah.
So we establish, that listening and treating our kids with high value.
Yes.
And listening is one way we can do that. When we're listening, a good thing we can do is ask questions. Tell me more about that. How did that make you feel?
Yes.
I think it's important for us to encourage our kids. Notice when they do something right, because all of us have that voice in our head telling us everything that we did wrong from morning to night. That's Satan's job, the accuser's job. And we all need to hear so many more positive things that we do so that we can hear something wrong. I've heard it's like 20 to 1. You need to hear 20 things that you did right in order to be able to hear the one. And sometimes we still latch on to that one thing that we did wrong.
Yeah, that's true.
But I used to have a friend that would ask me whenever I was telling her about life, she would ask me, do you want any feedback about that? And I think that's a good question for our kids when they're talking to us or we're having conflict with them. And we can ask them, would you like some feedback about that? And we can share our own experience. And then if they want to benefit from what happened to us and what we're sharing with them, they can. That's their choice. We don't make them do that. But we basically share our own strength and experience that we've had from life. But it's that thing of the unsolicited advice is criticism, so we don't want to give them the advice. We're in the consulting role now. We're not managing and child raising anymore. We're consultants.
That's right. I've had a lot of adult children say, I've never heard my parents admit that they were wrong about anything. And the thing is, I've heard parents say, well, I'm afraid if I admit that I was wrong, then that's going to be letting them know that I don't know what I'm doing. Well, that's not such a mystery, because a lot of times in parenting, we don't know what we're doing. I used to tell my daughter, if it looks like I don't know what I'm doing, it's true, because I've never done this before. And when you were born at the hospital, I remember them putting you in my arms and saying, have a nice life. And I thought, well, where's the instruction manual? And I told my daughter, if they gave me an instruction manual, I have no idea what I did with it. Because, I was basically just winging it, because I didn't have a clue what I was doing.
Yeah, that's right.
We're tested on so many things like driver's license and everything else, but when it comes to parenting, we're not tested at all.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I like an acronym called THINK. Before we say something to our kids,
Yes.
Is it the acronym THINK? Is it thoughtful, helpful, intelligent, necessary, or kind? So if it doesn't fit any of those categories, you probably could just keep it to yourself. And one thing Chuck and I like to say is that we want to be led by the Spirit when we talk to our kids. So if you feel pushed or driven to say something to your kids, even when they're not asking it, it's probably not the leading of the Holy Spirit.
Right.
So the Holy Spirit leads and Satan pushes.
Yes.
So I think that's something to look at when you feel compelled to give them advice and they're not asking for it, because we tend to think that we know what the right answer is.
Yes.
That we are their Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
And we're not their
boy.
God. We're not their
No,
Holy Spirit.
we can't.
We want them to learn to have their own relationship with the Lord and to learn to hear His voice. And we can say things to them to help put the decision making back in their court if they're trying to have us make the decision for them. As we can ask them, what do you think you should do about that? Or, you're very smart. I know you're going to make a good decision. And something that I like to remember is that I think we're so afraid that if we don't make the perfect decision, that the rest of our life is going to be ruined. But I heard that the space shuttle, we think it aims for the moon, takes off and goes straight to the moon, but it doesn't. They just need enough power to get out of the Earth's atmosphere, and then they make thousands of course corrections to get to the moon.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how life is too. We have to make many course decisions, and we might not always make the right decision, but we can learn from our mistakes, and then we can make a course correction. And I think it'd be great to, if your kids want help, to pray with them and ask the Lord for the help that they need.
Yeah, absolutely. Jesus is the answer. And maybe you're experiencing something with your children right now that says they don't want to have anything to do with God, and they're not being drawn to the Lord. They're not feeling the need to pray or seek God. Well, you can pray the drawing power of God upon them, because when you're praying the drawing power of God, that dispatches angels in their behalf to literally draw them to the Lord. Just like, if you know the Lord today, you went through the same thing, being drawn to the Lord, and you might say, boy, I didn't think I was ever going to serve the Lord. But here we are today serving the Lord, and they're in the same boat. God knows how to reach them. He knows how to speak to them. And as you pray in faith and believe that the drawing power of God will come upon them, boy, they can have a supernatural dream that just draws them to the Lord. He knows how to do it. We don't have to put the blueprint out before the Lord and say, this is exactly how you need to reach my kid. He knows exactly how to do it. So that's a big part of it right there. When they surrender their life to the Lord, then your relationship can be impacted in a wonderful way because of that experience as well.
Yeah, that's good. Another thing I'd kind of like to talk about before we end is I think parents can really beat themselves up for their mistakes, things that they didn't do right with their kids, or mistakes that they made. And I think it's so important for a parent to forgive themselves when they don't do things right. And I think that it would be really wonderful if you could actually go to your child and say, I didn't handle that very well. I'm so sorry. Could you please forgive me? Can we talk about that again, or can we revisit this topic? I don't know. I guess possibly a wound got triggered or whatever. But, to learn to forgive ourselves and to ask our children for forgiveness. Kids have a tremendous capacity to forgive. And personally, it's very endearing to me when somebody can admit that they did something wrong, that they made a mistake, or they treated me bad because of something else that was going on, maybe to explain what really happened that day that they didn't know anything about, but they bore the brunt of whatever. And in there's Proverbs 14:33 says, wisdom rests silently in the mind and heart of him who has understanding, but that which is in the mind of a fool is made known. And so sometimes the wisdom that we have in our mind for our kids is just supposed to be there silently, so that we know how to pray for them, and maybe the day will come when we can share it with them, or share it in a way that applies to us and not them, is a good way to, Chuck calls it coming in the back door.
Yeah.
But, when in our last program that we did last week, we talked some about detaching from things that go on with our kids. If it's very impacting for us, that we might need to take an emotional step back from it and give ourselves time to pause. Or if we feel ourselves escalating and we're in a conversation with them and we start to escalate, we need to take a time out.
That's right.
Which we've done an entire program on timeouts, but it's you giving yourself time to pause, to let your heart rate come down, even leave. Don't be in each other's presence for a while. Give yourself time to go for a walk or whatever, so you can gain perspective.
Absolutely. Yeah, and if you're calling each other names and downgrading each other, somebody has to stop that and let it begin with you.
Yes.
To where you say, you know what, I think it's important to go to your adult child and say, hey, I don't like the way I've talked to you, and I've called you names, and I've put you down, and I've said things that I really need you to forgive me for that, and I'm going to work on not doing that anymore because you're very valuable. Well, boy, that takes a lot of swallowing your pride to do that, but you'll see a great result if you'll just be honest. I've had so many adult children say to me, I would love it if my parents were just honest with me. Just honest with me, and stop trying to act like you're perfect, because you're not. Right. And none of us are. And so just be honest with them and say, I blew it, and I don't feel bad about that, and I ask you to forgive me. It'll put your relationship on a whole different level.
Yes,
just
amen.
Try it and see what will happen, because I know I've loved it when my parents were honest with me, and they'll love it if you're honest with them as well.
They will. Yeah.
Well, God bless you today. We've got to close here, but we really appreciate you tuning in, and we ask you to press the like, subscribe, and share button on this broadcast. That really helps us on this broadcast. Let your friends know about this broadcast. We've got lots of topics that they can choose from. If they can go down the list, they can choose a topic that might be of interest to them. We will look forward to seeing you next time. And if you want to donate to our ministry, you can go to our website and hit the donate button. And we appreciate that as well. God bless you today. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.
If you are blessed by this ministry, please subscribe, like, and share. You can also make donations at chucklewisministries.com. Join us to keep uncovering the tools to build better relationships together. Let's do this again next week.